The 97th Regiment of Foot was an infantry regiment of the British Army, formed in 1824 and amalgamated into the Queen's Own in 1881. Raising. In 1823 and 1824 the size of the British Army was increased by the raising of 6 regiments of foot, numbered the 94th, 99th. The raising of the 97th Regiment was authorized by a royal warrant dated the 25th of March 1824. The colonelcy was given to Major General Sir James Lyon, with the headquarters to be established at Gosport. It was the 6th Regiment of Foot to have borne the number 97, the others having been short-lived war-raised units that existed at various periods during the 7 Years' War, the American Revolutionary War and the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. On the 30th of March the headquarters of the regiment were moved to Winchester, by which time recruiting parties were active throughout the United Kingdom. By June 1824 the regiment had been brought up to full strength. Earl of Ulster's. The bulk of the regiment was recruited in Ireland, and it was initially regarded as an Irish unit. This led to it being given sky blue facings derived from the colour of the ribbon of the Order of St. Patrick. The colour of the facings led to the 97th gaining the nickname the Celestials. The Irish connection was reinforced in September 1826 when the regiment was granted the additional title of Earl of Ulster's. This was an additional title in the peerage of Ireland borne by Prince Frederick, Duke of York and Albany. The Latin motto Quo Fasa Gloria Ducant was granted to the regiment in the following month. Service to 1854. Soon after its formation the 97th Foot was ordered to Ceylon to relieve the 45th Regiment of Foot. They arrived in 1825, and were to spend 11 years on the island. In November 1832, the regiment's cricket team played the Colombo Cricket Club at the Rifle Green in Colombo. In the first recorded cricket match in Ceylon, the regiment returned to the United Kingdom in 1836, arriving at Portsmouth aboard HMS Jupiter in September. From 1836 to 1841 the regiment was stationed at various garrisons in England and Ireland. In 1841 the regiment sailed from Cork for the Ionian Islands, and was stationed at Corfu until 1847. They moved to Malta in 1847 before departing for Halifax, Nova Scotia in the following year, relieving the 23rd Regiment of Foot. The regiment returned to England in May 1853. By March 1854 it seemed inevitable that war would break out with the Russian Empire, and the 97th Foot were ordered to hold themselves in readiness to proceed to the Crimea. The regiment formed part of an expeditionary force that left Southampton in May 1854. They found themselves diverted to Greece, where they formed part of an Anglo-French occupation force suppressing the uprising in Epirus. In November 1854 they were selected as one of 6 infantry battalions to form reinforcements for the forces in the Crimean War. The 97th Foot landed at Balaclava on the 20th of November 1854. They took part in the siege of Sevastopol and the Battle of the Great Redoubt. The regiment suffered heavy casualties, with 2 members subsequently being awarded the newly created Victoria Cross in 1857. Sergeant John Coleman 4 actions at Sevastopol on the 30th of August, 1855. Brevet Major Charles Henry Lumley 4 actions at the Redoubt on the 8th of September 1855. Following the end of the war, the 97th Regiment returned to England, arriving in July 1856. Indian Mutiny. The 97th Foot's time in England was to be short. In May 1857, a rebellion broke out among native soldiers of the East India Company. In July, it was announced that the 97th were among 6 infantry battalions to be sent to India as reinforcements. The regiment arrived in Bombay in November 1857. In April 1858 they joined the British forces that lifted the siege of Lucknow. The regiment subsequently took part in minor operations at Fort Nasrutpur, Chanda, Umirpur and Sultanpur before the ending of the conflict in June 1858. Garrison duty to 1881. The 97th remained in India until 1867. They returned to the United Kingdom, spending 6 years at various stations in England and Ireland. In May 1873 the regiment sailed from Queenstown for the West Indies. They were stationed in Jamaica from 1873 to 75 and in Bermuda from 1875 to 77. Amalgamation. In March 1872 a major reorganization of the line infantry was announced. All single battalion regiments of foot were to be paired, sharing a permanent depot and a geographical recruiting area. One battalion was to be on foreign and one on home service at any time. It was originally proposed that the 97th be paired with the 103rd Regiment of Foot with a depot at Guildford in Surrey. This proved controversial, the 97th Foot still being regarded as an Irish regiment with no connection to England. The pairing was eventually changed, with the 97th being linked with the 50th Regiment of Foot. The 97th's Irish connection was ended, however, with the two regiments sharing a new depot at Maidstone and a sub-district, consisting of part of the county of Kent. On the 1st of August 1881, under the Childers reforms, the 50th and 97th Foot became the 1st and 2nd Battalions, Queen's Own. Following further amalgamations in 1961, 1966 and 1992, its lineages continued by the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment. Battle honours. Battle honours won by the regiment were Crimean War, Sevastopol, Indian Rebellion of 1857, Lucknow. Victoria Crosses. Sergeant John Coleman, Crimean War. Captain Charles Lumley, Crimean War. Colonels of the regiment. Colonels of the regiment were 1824 to 1829, Lt. Gen. Sir James Frederick Lyon, KCB, GCH 1829 to 1833, Lt. Gen. Hon. Sir Robert William O'Callaghan, GCB 1833 to 1843, F. M. Sir Henry Harding, 1st Viscount Harding, GCB 1843, Lt. Gen. Sir Charles James Napier, GCB 1843 to 1852, Lt. Gen. Sir Henry Frederick Bouverie, GCB, GCMG 1852 to 1859, Lt. Gen. Henry Adolphus Proctor, CB, 1859 to 1861, Gen. Sir Edward Finucane Morris, KCB, 1861 to 1869, Lt. Gen. John Campbell, 1869 to 1874, Gen. George Thomas Colomb, 1874 to 1881, Gen. John Maxwell Perceval, CB,